Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 7 o'clock. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. If you would, please rise and join us for the invocation and pledge.
Dear Lord, please be with us this evening as we make decisions for the betterment of our community. Please bless those that serve our community in both the first responders and those in the military serving here and abroad. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Buck.
Here.
Councilmember Doherty. Councilmember Hoffman. Here. Councilmember Thomason.
Here.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson. Mayor Latham.
Here. Agenda item 18158, please.
I move to accept the minutes of the budget workshop held August 13th, 2018.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 159.
I move to accept the minutes of the budget workshop held August 14th, 2018.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 160.
I move to accept the minutes of the council briefing held August 20th, 2018.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 161.
I move to accept the minutes of the regular council meeting held August 20th, 2018.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. Announcements. We've got a young man in the back of the room. Looks like he might be one of Miss Phillips' students. Is that right?
No.
No? You're Boy Scout?
Yes.
Okay, come on up to the podium. You're going to get in trouble. We got a pop quiz for you. Just tell us your name and what badge you're working on and what you have to do, okay?
My name is Jack Westfall. I'm working on my citizenship in the community badge, and I basically just have to take notes on what the meeting is about.
Congratulations, Jack. Thanks for being here. What school do you go to?
Landry Middle School.
Okay, great. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, Jack. Any other announcements from the council? I just want to say briefly that we just finished a council briefing, and there's been some questions about the golf course. We're going to be updating our social media to kind of keep everybody updated. We're targeting for around October 5th or 6th being open, but we'll give you more information as it becomes available. Okay, courtesy of the floor, I don't have any cards.
No, sir.
Did I see Curtis? Is he still here? I want to go back to announcements real quick and just, if you would come up and tell us about the awards that have been given to the Deck the Chairs group.
Test. Hi. Curtis Loftus. I'm in Atlantic Beach now.
Well, you just Deck the Chairs.
Oh, okay. Just didn't know if I knew this.
You're good.
All right, so we received 5 awards at the Florida Festival and Events Association. It was an honor to represent Jack's Beach. Actually, I think we got about 10% of the awards they handed out, so it was pretty cool. So, yes.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate all you do, Curtis. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Okay. No courtesy here tonight. So we're moving to agenda 162.
I move to approve contracts effective January 1, 2019 with Florida Blue for medical insurance, MetLife for dental insurance, Sun Life for life insurance, Advantica for voluntary vision insurance.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson?
We are pleased this year to be able to offer the same insurance coverage that we have with Florida Blue for an increase of 2.64%. You can see these are the current rates and the renewal rates for the HMO and the PPO. City rates are at the top, employee rates, monthly rates are at the bottom. Like I said, this represents only a 2.64% over our current. That is due to our favorable experience and hard work on the part of Ann Hughes and her team and Aventurous, our broker agent. We are also offering the same dental plans as last year. The DHMO plan represents a no increase over last year, where the dental PPO plans represent a 5% increase over last year. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, those are pretty good rates, and very, very competitive with the commercial world, so well done. And any comments from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman? Yes. Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. 163, please.
I move that we approve the 10 purchase orders issued to 7 different vendors in support of emergency testing, inspection, and repair services of substation equipment at Sampson Substation totaling $530,341.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson?
Sampson Substation is a primary feed for energy into Beaches Energy Services electric system. It is our most critical electric facility. Beginning in January of this year, we experienced several significant equipment failures at Sampson that affected all 3 transformers. These are transformers 1, 2, and 3 were all affected, and we over the period of several months, Alan had to implement several different emergency purchase orders to get the repairs done. Total repairs were $530,000. Because they were emergency POs, they had to be approved in advance by the city manager, and we're bringing them to you now for your formal approval, subsequent approval according to our purchasing policy. Alan, did you have anything you want to add?
Not unless anybody has any questions.
You might want to stand faster a minute while we check the query. Anybody have any questions for Alan? You're not? Okay, Madam Clerk, we need a roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoffman? Yes. Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. 164, please.
I move to declare Fairbanks Hughes Pentair the sole source provider for the pollution control plant effluent pumps and approve the purchase of 2 new effluent pumps from the Fairbanks Hughes Pentair Pumps Provider Sanders Co. at a total cost of $34,643.70.
It was easy for you to say. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson?
First knows how to say that.
Sorry about that. We just refer to it as Fairbanks.
Thanks for the heads up.
So these effluent there are 3 high service effluent pumps at the pollution control plant. They're used to discharge treated water from the plant. They were manufactured by Fairbanks Morse, which is now Fairbanks, the other name, and owned by Pentair. They were originally installed in 1996. Of the 3, 1 was replaced in 2005. The other 2 have been in service for 22 years. And I want to point out that the life expectancy of high-head effluent pumps is only 8 to 15 years. So we are proposing to purchase 2 pumps, one to replace a field pump and one to have on standby as a backup pump. In order to do that, we are asking for you to declare Fairbanks the sole source provider for these effluent pumps. They're the only, Sanders is the sole source provider for the Fairbanks pump. Correct, David?
Yes, they're the local distributor.
Local distributor. So we're asking to declare Sanders the sole source provider. And then asking for approval to purchase 2 pumps at a total cost of $34,643.70.
That's it.
Anything to add?
Mr. Thompson?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. My only concern is if the pumps are good for 8 to 15 years, and we shouldn't let them get to 22 years until essentially they're failing, do we have a plan in place to evaluate them at, say, that 7 or 8 year mark to ensure that we don't have pumps that are looking like this?
David, if you would give the microphone and give us your name and position.
Dave Milner, Jacksonville Beach Public Works. In the past, they haven't, it's very costly to take the pumps apart. It costs us several $1,000s in labor and parts, just the seals, once you break it open and look at the inside. So we kind of look at how it's performing, and then that's when we decided to take it apart. That's why we took apart number 3, because it wasn't performing up to where it should have been, and when they looked inside, it's pretty bad shape. The reason we're requesting to buy 2 right now, pump number 3 is down. We're going to replace that one, and then once we get number 3 up, the plan is then to go and replace the other pump that's been in service for 22 years, so that we'll have 2 good pumps. And then I've talked with my folks about getting a plan in place to go ahead and purchase another one down the road to replace the one that was put in 2005, because that was approaching into the service life.
But what you're saying is that there's no real way to find out if the pump looks like that unless you spend thousands of dollars just to take it apart?
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
I never asked Ty this, but do you have a phase replacement set up? Are you doing a phase replacement type tracking for equipment with longevity?
That's one thing I'm putting in place, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Item 165, please.
Move to approve the summer court final plat for the replat of lots 8 and 9, block D10, Pontevedra Unit 2 subdivision, creating a 6-lot, single-family residential subdivision.
Second.
Got a motion, second. Ms. Nelson.
This is an applicant who has applied to subdivide 2 large lots into 6 single-family residential lots. So currently, these lots are, there's 1 lot here, and then there's 1 lot on the other side here. And so the applicant has asked to divide them into 6 single-family lots. The property is located on the west side of Pontevedra Boulevard, north of Mills Lane, in a residential single-family RS1 subdivision. It's already been approved by all reviewing city departments, and it's consistent with relevant land development code and comprehensive plan regulations. Heather, would you like to come up?
Good evening, Heather Ireland, Planning and Development Department. I'd be happy to answer any questions. This is one of those unusual cases where there's property that's actually this large enough. I think it was originally around 90,000 square feet to split further into additional new lots. And they've got 2, which will be privately managed stormwater retention ponds on site. That will be managed by the HOA when it is put into place, and it'll be a public street called Summer Court.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Buck?
I just wanted to say that these are all nice sized lots, so it'd just be a real asset to the community.
Yes, sir. They're all over 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read resolution number 2020-2018, public hearing by title only, please.
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, tentatively approving amendments to the Jacksonville Beach 2030 Comprehensive Plan for the purpose of adopting the 10-year water supply facilities work plan in order to comply with the Chapter 369, Part 3 Florida statutes, amending the potable water sub-element, conservation element, and intergovernmental coordination element of the comprehensive plan, and authorizing transmittal of said amended elements to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity.
I move to adopt resolution number 2020-2018, tentatively approving text amendments to the Jacksonville Beach 2030 Comprehensive Plan and authorizing transmittal of the proposed amendments to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for review.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson?
I'm going to ask Heather to come back up and introduce this item for us.
Hello again. So the water management districts are required to put together a regional water supply plan. If they identify that there's a water supply deficit in their region, the local municipalities and counties are therefore required to put together a local water supply facilities work plan. But we have not had to do this before. This is our first plan of this type. It is part of the comprehensive plan, which is why it falls under the planning department. So we've been working on this for a couple months now. We had help from Public Works to get some data, and also from the Water Management District to supply us with some of our numbers that we use, but they provide really good guidance for us to put this plan together. Other regions in Florida, South and Central Florida, they've been doing this for 10 years or more, so it's just now becoming an issue in our region to address this. The good news for Jax Beach is that we have locally not identified a deficit with water supply. We're in good shape, and we're not going to grow that much more, as we're mostly a built-out community. So again, it's required by Florida statute, and we've got to identify what our current population is, current water use, our projected water demand for the next 10 years at least, and we will have to update this plan every 5 years, or as a regional, or as the Water Management District updates their regional water supply plan.
Okay,
I'd
great.
be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions from the council? No questions, Heather? Thank you. And clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bud?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman? Yes. Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read resolution number 2021-2018 by title only, please.
A resolution authorizing the construction and maintenance agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation and the City of Neptune Beach detailing ownership of and responsibilities for the cost, construction, operation, maintenance, and repair of the new bridge and roadway approaches at Seagate Avenue in Jacksonville Beach and Neptune Beach, Florida, as part of the Department's State Road A1A Drainage Improvements Project with financial project number 436077-1-5201.
I move to adopt Resolution 2021-2018, authorizing the mayor and interim city manager to execute with the Florida Department of Transportation and the City of Neptune Beach the construction and maintenance agreement detailing ownership of and responsibilities for the maintenance and repair of the new bridge and roadway approaches at Seagate Avenue.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson?
This is related to an FDOT A1A drainage improvements project that is underway. The project is to construct major drainage channel improvements. Here's a map of the drainage channel improvements at 15th Avenue North, 18th Avenue North, and Seagate. In June of 2017, the council approved perpetual easements at the location of the new bridges. That's these. This is Seagate and 18th and 15th bridges. Those were approved by council already, and at that time, the council also approved temporary construction easements adjacent to the bridge sites. In December of 2017, the council authorized execution of the FDOT standard construction and maintenance agreement for the 15th Avenue North and the 18th Avenue North bridges. The Seagate Bridge was a little bit more complicated because it's half in Neptune Beach and half in Jacksonville Beach. So now we are coming back to you to approve the agreement for the Seagate Bridge, and this agreement is in conjunction with Neptune Beach.
Has it already been approved by Neptune Beach?
It has not.
Are they reviewing that?
Has Neptune Beach taken theirs too?
We coordinated with the Public Works Department, and they, from their initial reading, there are no issues with the agreement as written.
Okay.
I don't believe it's gone to get a signature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't know whether or not it's on their agenda for an upcoming meeting? Or?
I can find out for sure, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any questions from the council? Mr. Vogelsang?
If there's any issues with the bridge, obviously we have our obligation and Neptune Beach has theirs on the approach to the bridge. If there's issues with the bridge, does that fall on FDOT? Or, because I didn't read within the agreement what happens with the bridge problems.
The bridge maintenance is responsibility of Jax Beach and Neptune Beach. The ownership of the DOT owns the bridges, but we're responsible for maintenance and operation. Similar to the agreements that were previously approved for 15th Avenue North and 18th Avenue North.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thompson?
Yes, Ms. Miller. Would that include failure of the bridge? We would pay for it versus Jacksonville?
Certainly, I think if there's a failure situation, I think we would be going back to DOT to discuss the way forward on that. Typically, we're talking about maintenance and operation.
Yeah, that's routine maintenance and operation. I
Routine maintenance
understand
and
that,
operation.
but say we have a storm and the bridge collapses as a result. Is it us and Neptune Beach, or is it DOT?
Sure, I don't believe the agreement is specific on that. As with them being the owner of the bridge, I think it being covered by DOT to do a replacement bridge.
I'm the beach's representative to the Transportation Planning Organization, and typically that would be looked at as an emergent expenditure that would go through the TOP funded by the FDOT. Okay, thank you. Anything else from the council? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2018-8110, first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance enacting and establishing a comprehensive land development regulation and official zoning map for the incorporated area of the city of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, as authorized by Chapter 163.3202 Florida statutes, by amending Article 7, zoning districts, Division 2, Section 34-346, Industrial District I-1, Paragraph E, permitted uses, to add tour operators as subparagraph 20, to repeal ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and for other purposes.
I move to adopt ordinance number 2018-8110, amending the Land Development Code to add tour operators to the list of permitted uses in the city's industrial I-1 zoning districts.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Nelson?
We have an applicant who is planning on leasing an existing warehouse tenant space at 1250 Shutter Avenue for a proposed business. It's called Go Tuckin'. And I understand the applicant is here if we have any specific questions about the business. The proposed location is in an industrial I-1 zone, is that correct? Zoning district. Their business is tour operations. They will provide a variety of mobile tours to residents and visitors in the beaches area. And the building space will be used for tour operators' offices and for indoor storage of the business's tour vehicles. We currently do not have tour operators listed as a permitted use in any zoning district, and so they will have to apply. They have applied to do an amendment to the Land Development Code in order to operate their business. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on this proposed amendment on Monday, August 13th, and recommended that tour operators be approved by City Council to be added as a permitted use. So that's the only recommended change to the code, is just to add it is number 20, and it will be tour operators.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. The business owner here, would you mind coming forward, give us your name, and tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing?
Hi, my name is Stephanie Dale, and I'm the owner of Go Tuckin'. And we are bringing for the first time to the state of Florida. They are called tuk-tuks, and they are three-wheeled vehicles. They're open air, and in this case, they're actually made in the United States in Denver, Colorado. That particular manufacturer received the sole rights to build them in the United States from Amsterdam. And these are fully electric vehicles, so they are very good for our environment and sustainability as well. So there's no fumes or other information as well. They're about 13 feet in length. They hold 6 passengers plus our driver as well. And we'll be doing specialty events as well as tour operations. And so we'll be doing things like wedding shuttles or providing birthday celebrations, bachelorette parties, and corporate team building sessions as well. On the tour side, we're actually going to be doing architectural and historical tours, and then, of course, pub crawls.
Okay. Stephanie, if you can stand by for a minute, there's a couple of council members who'd like to speak and then have questions for you.
Yep.
Ms. Hoffman, you're first on the queue.
Just in the interest of full disclosure, I have met with this company, with Mrs. Dale, about the history tour side of things in my role as executive director of the Beaches Museum. So just wanted to disclose that there's not a financial relationship there, so I don't feel the need to recuse myself. But I have had a chance to talk to her about the business model, and I think it's going to be a fantastic addition to the beaches, and certainly provide some opportunities to alleviate some of our parking issues, but also to just spread a really nice, for me in particular, I'm very interested in the history information that they'll be giving out to their passengers, even that aren't on the history tours, but throughout the day, whoever they might be driving.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Vogelside?
Yeah, the only thing that I was going to address is, just like with the craft distillery, was whether this had a potential to create any concerns, and therefore maybe we place it as a conditional use versus automatic approval use. How many vehicles do you plan to have in operation at any given time?
So we'll have a total of 4 that we'll have, and after the first month, we'll actually take 2 of those, and we'll be going down to Riverside and Avondale. But again, there's only 6 passengers on them, and of course, there will not be any drinking on any of the vehicles at all. This is really about an experience. This is not about being a shuttle. It's really about providing our visitors and our locals alike with something that's completely different. I actually own my own travel agency as well, so bringing and providing that extra support is, obviously very near and dear to my heart.
Okay, thank you. I just based on our discussions here, I don't think that it's something that I think that we would need to place a conditional use on. But that was just my general thoughts to throw it out there before we heard from the applicant. Thanks for being here.
Mr. Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor. Ma'am, I have another question. Sorry, getting your exercise tonight.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to sit or stand.
Are these vehicles fully licensed to operate on public streets?
They are. They are DOT and street legal. They go about 35 miles an hour. And again, they usually run in about 70 miles worth at every charge, but they can be charged at any electrical outlet, so they don't take anything special either. But they are fully sealed batteries, so they're extremely safe.
And I know there are certain battery-operated vehicles that are prohibited from going on certain streets unless they can reach a minimum miles per hour. I believe it is 35.
Right.
I've got our police commander nodding his head yes. So your vehicles will travel 35, so you're not limited just to streets where the speed limit is 25.
Correct. And of course, we're still going to be smart about doing those things where, we're not going to be going over any of the bridges. That's why we have to take some of them and take them and place them downtown. But again, for, out here, we'll be, running in this direction as well.
And from a safety standpoint, you will have safety belts and people will be required to wear them.
And they actually have little doors on the back of them as well, so they're fully kind of enclosed. And then they also have covers over the top of them. Of course, there's all kinds of safety features. That was one of the adventures that the manufacturer had to go through, and they have their, one of their owners is an FAA engineer, and so he's the one that got it through all of the legislation to make sure that they are fully compliant with everything.
Thank you, ma'am.
Before you sit down, is there a requirement for a driver's license for the people that operate them?
Just regular driver's license, but all of our employees will be going through a 2-week orientation as well as doing test runs and making sure that they're fully up to speed. We're also going to be requiring them to take an online defensive driving course as well, because again, these are not inexpensive vehicles. These are very luxury vehicles, and so we want to make sure that our vehicles are protected, and obviously all of our clients are also protected as well.
Great, thank you. Mr. Thompson, you were done?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had another question. When you mentioned just a standard driver license, we have a couple of our police commanders in here, and I was wondering, I hate to put either of them on the spot, but if you're going to be transporting passengers, I'm wondering if you're required to have either a commercial or chauffeur's license, not just simply a regular license.
Well, we've had our lawyers look at them as well, and right now, because again, they are under a certain tonnage as well as the length of the vehicles, that's what's kept them within that same thing.
Are you the lawyer coming here?
You can tell I've done a lot of research, right? It's a big investment.
Yeah, because probably Mark Evans, patrol commander, and I don't know because I'm going off of memory here. But because of the tonnage, it's probably not even a chauffeur's license. But I would have to look it up and just familiar myself with it.
Man, if you could just give your information to the commander, he's not an attorney, as he says, but they do issue citations.
Right.
Thank you.
And we are actually going to go around to each of the police jurisdictions, make sure that they're fully aware, where we're going to be. All of our drivers will definitely be in full uniform, so, we'll definitely be visiting everybody as well.
Okay. Thank you, appreciate it. Wish you the best luck with this, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsay?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2018-8111, first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 5, Animals and Fowl, Article 2, Dogs and Cats, Division 1 in general, Section 5-36 reserved, adding neglect, abandonment, confinement, tethering for the repeal of all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
I move that we adopt ordinance number 2018-8111, amending Chapter 5 of the City of Jacksonville Beach Code of Ordinances by adding Section 5-36 titled Neglecting, Abandoning Animals, Animals Confinement, Tethering.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Ms. Nelson?
Our current code of ordinances does not contain an ordinance that addresses the concern of animal cruelty, abandonment, or neglect. Because we don't have an ordinance, it hinders our ability of the animal control officer to take enforcement actions for those offenses. So the only recourse that we're left with is a police officer enforcing state statute for either a misdemeanor or a felony level cruelty related charges. There's also no civil enforcement action for such violations and no possibility of bringing violators in front of the Jacksonville Beach Special Magistrate. So at the request of community and just in concern of our citizens, we are implementing an ordinance that addresses those and allows us to enforce it through our animal control officer. Under the ordinance, it will be considered neglect or abandonment of an animal if one or more of the following occurs. It includes failing to provide sufficient potable water, wholesome food, and adequate shelter, keeping an animal in an enclosure that prevents the animal from full movement with full extension of its limbs, placing or confining an animal in an unattended vehicle without sufficient ventilation, water, or space to fully stand erect and turn around, allowing an animal to live in extreme filth, excessive feces, unsanitary conditions, and obnoxious odors. The ordinance will also define conditions under which animals may be tethered, including allowable length and weight of the tether, and requiring that the animal have access to shelter, food, and water while tethered. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Thomason?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question for the commander who's in charge of this. Is the wording that's in the ordinance essentially taken out of the Florida statutes, or is it wording that you developed from elsewhere, maybe in the city?
It's based on the Florida statutes.
Thank you.
Are you done?
Yes.
Could you come up, please? I'm really sorry, but I don't know your name. Could you just tell us your name and position?
Kelsey Everly, I'm the animal control officer.
All right, Kelsey, thanks. I just want to tell you, I think this is really good. And I also think that you need to feel like you've got the full support of the council behind you. If you find yourself in a precarious position where the life of an animal is in jeopardy and you need to take immediate action that doesn't harm other people, you do what you need to do to get that animal under, safe conditions.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You bet. I mean, this is a long time coming and long overdue. And this gives you a little bit additional authority to do what you need to do, take care of animals. Rest assured, you got at least the support of the mayor behind you, probably the rest of the council. Because to me, there's nothing more offensive than take care of creating harm on a defenseless animal. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for what you do. Mr. Vogelsberg.
Are the penalties, is Florida statute dictate the penalties, or do we come up with that on our own? Because I don't remember that being in the statute.
Tommy Crumley, Services Division Commander. So the penalties were, we compared
and contrasted the different cities, whether it was Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, City of Jacksonville, and we made sure that we weren't the highest, we weren't the lowest, that we try to be in line with everybody, and still, our main goal is voluntary compliance. We want everybody to voluntarily comply, but we also want there to be a penalty for it as well.
Exactly. No, I was thinking it was a little light, but it looks good, so I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other members of the council? Thank you. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Buck?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman? Yes. Councilmember Thomason?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming. Have a great night.